just want to be your friend, babe.
Stop calling me that. Just answer my questions.
I already told you the answer.
What? Where?
You didn't read the 13th comment on that YouTube video completely, did you?
I was pissed off. I didn't even know if it was a girl or some scamster who was trying to blackmail me. I went through the entire process again and landed at that circus video. Scrolled down furiously to the 13th comment. The last time I was at it, it just had the YouTube link to my tempered video. This time, there was a text. Don't scroll down to the 20th comment. I wondered how she was doing this. I scrolled down immediately to the 20th comment, which read, "Don't click on this link." I clicked on that link and arrived at my own blog from 7 years ago, on which there was a suggested edit now, which said, "Don't go into the edit logs of this blog." I rushed to the edit logs, just wanting this mystery to end, and it did. In the edit logs, a previous version of that answer existed, which just read this: "Thank you for the delicious orange juice." I looked to my right. My glass of orange juice was empty, and I had not had a single drop of it. Meeting Kelly felt like something out of a dream. A weird, dark dream, but a dream nonetheless. I've never been the type of guy who gets the girl. Hell, I've never even been the type of guy who talks to the girl. My comfort zone has always been behind a computer screen where I could control a conversation, where my awkwardness didn't show, and where I wasn't constantly reminded of how much of a loser I am. I wasn't looking for anything special when I stumbled into the dark web chat room. It was more out of boredom than anything else. But then I met Kelly. She was different from anyone I'd ever talked to. Confident, funny, and actually interested in what I had to say. She didn't just tolerate my nerdy ramblings, she engaged with them, made me feel like I mattered. For someone like me, who's always been a bit of a loner, that meant the world. Kelly wasn't perfect. She had her issues, just like I did. She told me about her struggle with hair loss, a condition that made her feel invisible and unattractive. She said no guy ever looked at her the way she wanted to be looked at. That hit me hard because I know what it felt like to be overlooked, to feel like you don't matter. We bonded over the shared feeling of not fitting in, and before long I found myself falling for her. After weeks of late-night chats, we decided it was time to meet in person. We picked an abandoned children's park out in the middle of nowhere. It seemed perfect, a quiet, out-of-the-way spot where we could finally see each other without any pressure. I was nervous as hell, but I couldn't wait to see her. The park was even creepier than I'd imagined. The sun had just set, leaving everything in that dim, unsettling twilight where nothing feels quite real. I got there early, sat on a bench near an old, rusted swing set, and waited. The place was dead quiet, and with each passing minute, my nerves started to get the best of me. Then, I noticed him. A creepy old man sitting on a bench a little ways off. He was just staring at me. Not a casual glance, but a full-on, unsettling stare. I tried to ignore him, but it wasn't easy. I pulled out my phone and texted Kelly, asking how long she'd be. She replied that she was walking because she couldn't catch a cab. Great, I thought. Just what I needed, to be stuck here alone with this weirdo watching me. I shifted on the bench, trying to act like I wasn't bothered, but I couldn't help it. The old man's stare was drilling into me, and every instinct I had was screaming that something was wrong. Then he stood up and started walking toward me. My heart skipped a beat. I'm not usually paranoid, but this guy was seriously creeping me out. I got up and started walking away, texting Kelly the whole time, telling her about the old man and that I was moving to another spot. She told me to wait a few minutes, that she'd be there soon, but I couldn't wait. I just needed to get away. I spotted a bus stop at the edge of the park, lit by a flickering streetlight. It wasn't much, but it was something. I made my way there, trying to calm myself down. As I reached the bus stop, I looked back and there he was, standing across the street, grinning at me. That grin sent a shiver down my spine. It was like he knew something I didn't, like he was enjoying my fear. I needed to hear Kelly's voice, to know that she was real and that this wasn't some messed up joke. But I didn't have her number. We've been so caught up in our chat room world that we never thought to exchange phone numbers. I cursed myself for that, then texted her, saying the internet was spotty and asking for her number. She didn't reply right away, and those few seconds felt like an eternity. Finally, her number popped up in the chat. I didn't waste a second. I called it immediately. The phone rang once, then twice, and then I heard it. The ringtone, echoing through the empty street. My heart sank. I looked around, but the street was deserted. No sign of Kelly, no sign of anyone. Panic set in. I looked across the street again, but the old man was gone. That should have made me feel better, but it didn't. Everything about this felt wrong. My hands were shaking as I dialed her number again. The ringtone started up, louder this time, closer, right behind me. I turned around slowly, every muscle in my body tense. The old man was crouched on the bus stop bench, grinning at me like he'd just won some sick game.
"Hello, Ryan,"
he said, his voice dripping with malice.
"I hope my hair is fine for you. I didn't want to wear a wig on our first date."
I stared at him, my mind racing to make sense of what was happening. Kelly's words, her stories about her hair loss, her vulnerability, it all came crashing down on me in a sickening realization. This wasn't Kelly. It had been him all along. He lunged at me, and I reacted without thinking. My fist connected with his face, and he stumbled back, blood streaming from his nose. I didn't wait to see what he'd do next. I turned and ran, his voice echoing after me.
"Stop, Ryan! Stop! I thought you were different. I thought you loved me."
I didn't stop running until I was back at my apartment, the door locked behind me, my heart pounding in my chest. I couldn't believe what had just happened. I felt sick, violated, like I'd been played from the start. I wiped my phone and computer clean that night, erasing every trace of that chat room, of Kelly, if that was even her real name, of everything. I was done with the dark web, done with trusting people online. I learned my lesson the hard way. The dark web is a dangerous place, and sometimes the people you meet there aren't people at all.